you preach is hate, miss. What God tells you to do.
You don't get to call the word of God hatred.
Oh, really?
Missy.
Who gives you the authority
messing with
to
the
preach?
wrong God also.
Are you a preacher? Are you a minister? Were you brought down from heaven to preach your garbage? Oh, really?
That was Fox's own Julie Banderas in a heated exchange with a member of the Westboro Baptist Church. That's a fundamentalist group that frequently pickets funerals of soldiers killed in Iraq and Afghanistan.
And Marines, too. Some members of this church claim God is killing U.S. service members to punish the United States for condoning homosexuality. Well, now a Marine's father is suing the church for disrupting his son's funeral. TV judge and real judge Alex Ferrer is here to weigh in. Judge, thanks very much.
Thank you, Greg.
What about this? We all know about the First Amendment. You can pretty much say or do anything, say anything, as long as it doesn't disrupt public safety. But this father may have a case here regarding this group and their protest.
Absolutely. He may have a case, and it is very difficult when you're dealing with the First Amendment challenge, because the First Amendment is one of the most protected amendments we have, and rightfully so, because you start chipping away at it, and it's a slippery slope to getting rid of political commentary and dissent against government, things like that. So it's awfully hard to survive First Amendment challenges. That being said, it's not an absolute inviolate right, because you want to test it, go to the airport and say, I'm going to put a bomb on a plane, or I'm going to hijack a plane, and watch how fast you are prosecuted and convicted. So you can't just say anything. And I think the strongest challenge to this type of behavior is the intentional infliction of emotional distress approach that they're taking.
See, that's the point I understand, because this is causing added emotional grief for the families who are burying their loved ones who have fallen in the line of duty to protect this country and the rights that they have to go out and protest.
Yes, and society recognizes, and I think everybody recognizes, the situation of a parent who's lost a child. My mother lost 2 children, and it's obviously very personal to me to see something like this, and I can relate, and I think society can relate to the fact that nothing can be more egregious than to torment a parent as they're burying their child. And on top of which, this is a captive audience, and the Supreme Court has made a distinction about that. When you have, unlike protesters who the public can walk by and ignore or take a different street, you can't change the location. You're going to your son or daughter's funeral, and you are going to go. So I can see the opportunity for restrictions that will be limited, but that would protect the parents in a situation like this.
Again, these people are going and they're saying things like, your son is going to hell, and they're showing up at a funeral saying that. So it does seem...
Yeah. Well, they have signs that say, thank God for dead soldiers. It is just the most offensive. But the First Amendment protects everybody, even demented cretins.
But this crosses the line it's such an egregious affront.
Well, remember back when the neo-Nazi groups marched in Skokie, Illinois, a predominantly Jewish community, and they picked it specifically for that reason. And the Supreme Court allowed it and said freedom of expression. But, the law does change over time. And frankly, I'm of the opinion that it's time to start making changes that restrict hateful, racist speech under the guise of religious freedom when it's not. It's just racist.
Or just keep it, the proximity issue, away from a church and a captive audience.
But when I say restrict, the restrictions have to be very limited. I am definitely mindful of the other side, that you start restricting the First Amendment and it does become that slippery slope. So it has to be done very carefully. I'm not sure that this is the case that's going to do it, because factually, I did read that the father did not see the protesters, did not hear the protesters.
Perhaps only on television.
Saw it on television. And as much as a jury and a judge is going to be against that.
And on that note, we'll end it there. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Judge Alex, we'll check out your show all week long.
In the meantime, coming up on the latest on Chrysler's talks with the United Auto Workers Union, as a big decision is expected today.
And we're going to tell you about a new book that discusses Hillary's strategies for dealing with Bill's infidelities. Find out why she stayed devoted to her man.
And is your home fireproof? Let's hope so. If not, some simple steps you can